Hi everybody and welcome to the conclusion of Season 76, the Bearcat Update. For today I'll be updating you on how the seasons are looking for our spring sports. From softball battling for a postseason spot, golf's record finish, and everything in between. We got a lot to cover, so let's get right into it. The baseball team got the bats hot this week as they nabbed a pair of 10-run outings against Newman and 4th-ranked UCM. Though they would fall in both games, that's water off a duck's back because the offense is rolling. But that wasn't the only big news for the Bearcats as pitcher Ben Hogue secured MIAA Pitcher of the Week as he became the first Bearcat to take home this award since 2022. He notched 14 strikeouts and earned his second complete game of the season in Saturday's 5-1 takedown of the Jets. The Bearcats are now gearing up for an MIAA showdown as they travel to Edmond, Oklahoma for a series with UCO. Good luck to the Bearcats. For more on the Bearcats, our reporter Lauren Slocum is going to give us a rundown on the baseball season.
As the spring sports wind down, let's take a look at how the baseball team has performed this year. After welcoming new head coach Tony Jandren, things seem to look up for the Bearcats. Northwest has had an overall losing record since 2019 and an MIAA losing record since 2020. But for the first time in 6 years, they have a chance to finish with a winning record. Northwest has had a very solid offensive season this year. Kayuke Young, Dylan Huft, and Ryan Williams have led the Bearcats' offense this season. They all sit batting above 300 with incredible on-base percentages. Kayuke Young and Ashton Newman lead the team with 8 home runs, but Dylan Huff leads the Cats overall with 55 hits. The pitching staff got an honor this week that they haven't seen since 2022. Ben Hogg was named Pitcher of the Week after his dominant performance against Newman. In the complete 9 innings, he struck out 14, gave up 3 hits, and had 0 walks. This was the first complete 9-inning game pitched since 2022. Hogg leads the team with 58 strikeouts and 55 in a third innings pitched. He is ranked 6th overall in the MIAA. The Bearcats know how to keep their fans on their toes with exciting endings to a few of their games. The first one was on March 29th against the Hillcats. Northwest and Rogers State were tied 5-5 going into extra innings. In the bottom of the 10th, it was Ryan Williams who hit a 3-run walk-off home run to win the game 8-5. On April 11th, Northwest faced Newman and was tied 6-6 going into extra innings. Sophomore Sam Warnson, who had hit a homer earlier in the game, knocked a grand slam in the bottom of the 10th to win the game 10-6. The Bearcats have 10 more MIAA matchups before the season is over. Currently sitting at 500, they are looking to get their first MIAA winning record in 5 years. Their upcoming series is against Central Oklahoma, who is currently 29-12. Northwest trails the Broncos 10-22 in all-time series. The Bearcats then have a single game against Missouri Western, who has beaten them twice this season, and then Northwest will travel to face Fort Hays April 25th for another 3-game series. Finally, they will end their season at home on May 1st with another 3-game series against Emporia State. All of us here at BCU have loved covering the Bearcats this season and wish them luck going into their final few games. This has been Lauren for Bearcat Update. Back to you.
Thanks, Lauren. The softball team finished up their 4th consecutive doubleheader as they prepare to play 8 games in as many days. The Bearcats took a quick road trip to the capital city for a rare non-conference matchup with the Lincoln Blue Tigers. The Bearcats hold a daunting 43-2 record against Lincoln in the all-time series. As we near the end of the season, Northwest is tied for 10th place in the MIAA standings. The top 10 teams will qualify for the single elimination MIAA tournament. The Bearcats will aim to get their 15th straight win against the Blue Tigers. 46th-ranked Alva Norberg made waves in the MIAA after a standout week with the tennis team as they pushed their record to 10-7. Norberg was just named MIAA Tennis Athlete of the Week after notching a pair of singles and doubles wins as her individual record goes to 14-5. With the Bearcats on a 4-match win streak, they prepare for their final trio of matches for the MIAA tournament and regionals at the beginning of May. The golf team competed in the MIAA championship last week, placing 2nd out of 12 teams. Madeline Schlepfer led the Bearcats, finishing in a tie for 8th. Paige Hoffman finished in a tie for 11th, along with Lexi Bartley. The golf team will head to Edmond, Oklahoma on the 5th to compete in the NCAA Central Regional Tournament. Good luck to all the Bearcats. Normally we focus our coverage on the Bearcats, but some local news caught our attention. On Monday, former Spoofhound and Maryville native Serena Sundell heard her name called in the 2025 WNBA Draft. During her days here in Maryville, she was named Miss Show Me Basketball as the top player in Missouri after she became Maryville's all-time leading scorer with 2,358 points, as well as being a state champion in volleyball. After 4 years at Kansas State, her hard work has paid off after the Seattle Storm selected her in the 3rd round of the draft. She heads to the same city her brother Jaden Sundell is currently at and fellow Spoofhound who plays for the Seattle Seahawks. Before we head into our first break of the show, we'd like to give a huge shout out to the Bearcat Steppers after becoming national champions. Thank you for all of your hard work and dedication. You all have more than earned it. Hey, it's halftime. If you like what you see, make sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell to be the first to know when we post new content. But as we take our first break of the show, stick with us as we throw things over to KZLX. We'll be right back.
Hey Tyrell, why don't you tell everyone what we do here?
But yeah, of course, because here are alternatives and options. We find uncommon solutions to common problems. For instance, did you know that tinfoil could be used as an alternative to batteries?
Our goal is to find the most effective, efficient, and affordable options for you.
Whether we're in the lab,
So how much do you really know about laundry detergent? Or on the field? We'll do our best
to give you the best
alternatives and options.
We're going to turn it dial a bit here from X106.7. I'm Wiley Ray, and with it being our highlight episode, we're going to dive right into Ray's plays and highlights. Let's get right into it. Cue that intro. Welcome back to Ray's Plays and Highlights, and today we're going to be diving into 3 baseball plays as we look at the 500 Bearcat baseball squad. So let's dive into play number 1, where this one starts with a pitching performance that ultimately turns into a top 10 play. So this one, just to start things out, you can't fault the effort here by the Bearcat defense. You know, looks like they're going maybe for a little bit of an off-speed pitch late in the count, late in the top half of the inning. And then you see the camera pan to what could be a top 10 play and a great diving effort to close out the inning. And this really just shows how much hard work and drive this team has had all season. They've taken big wins. They've taken 2 off of top-ranked Central Missouri, and then they fell 17-10 earlier this week to them. But however, still nothing to fault for this squad. The effort's there, the intensity's there. This team is going to make big things happen this season. But as you can see, going into it, just a diving catch, and he does a good job of laying out, extending that body, and still keeping his eyes on the ball. A lot of people will dive out, they'll try and make that catch, and then the moment they feel like they're going to hit the ground, they'll close their eyes or they'll try and turn their body a little bit too soon, and that's when you get those errors, that's when you get the missed pop flies. But this one right here, he read the shift, and he made a play happen, and this is a great thing to see if you're the Bearcats moving forward to the second half of the season. Let's take it to play number 2. Now, this one's Bearcats on the base paths. This one, a little bit of an error on the base path, but it's still great to have in the film room and one thing to look at as you look forward to maybe fix yourself on the base path. And it all starts out with that delayed jump that you see, and that catcher stutters. And when you stutter as a base runner and you see that catcher stutter, ultimately you're like, hey, I got to go. I got to make something happen. But at 9 times out of 10, you're going to get thrown out right here. And it, like I said, ultimately starts with that stutter. And that's the biggest thing, you know, that's really the biggest thing of this whole play is that stutter. Because if you're confident with your ability to steal, then you're confident with your ability to get a stolen base. And I want you to stop here in a moment, and I want you to stop right there. So one thing you look at, he takes that stutter, but if we let this play a little and you look at that tag at the bag, that's really the big deciding factor. And as we're going to break it down here just in depth more, I want to talk about the positioning right here. So take that pause, and now a lot of you are going to say, why are you taking a pause at the bag? Now, as you can see, he's trying to get that far side of the bag. Now, a lot of times, a lot of base runners, when they slide or they dive, they're aiming for that far side of the bag because that base runner, that infielder, when he gets that tag, he's wanting the closest spot to that bag, and so the catcher's going to throw it to the closest spot on the bag. So base runners naturally are going, hey, we need to get that outside of the bag. We need to try and, curve around, try and do something to give ourselves that stolen base. And knowing that he jumped it late, that's ultimately leading for him to go to that far side of the bag. And as we let this play roll out, this ends the inning for the Bearcats and, hurts their opportunities of putting a runner in scoring position or even putting a run on the board. Now let's take a look at our third and final play here with, once again, being a laser of a throw from center fielder Ashton Newman. This one is a nice gapper going right up the middle, which ultimately could have been a double, but with that throw from Ashton Newman out in center field, it ends the inning for the Bearcats. And ultimately, this one, a great defensive play for the Bearcats. You've seen it all season. We've continued to see amazing plays from this defense. And the biggest thing for the Bearcats moving forward is just that offense. We saw that stolen base attempt, and, that's not something you want to see on the base paths. But the Bearcats offensively have been doing great things, as we saw a walk-off grand slam just a week ago against Newman. But as you take a look farther into this one, Newman does a good job of what they call the janitor's throw, where he doesn't lay out and roll on the ground, but he still strengthens that arm, he extends it out, and ultimately he pushes through to get the throw out from center field, closing out a great play for Rays Plays and Highlights. This has been another edition of BCU at the X and Rays Plays and Highlights. We'll be back in no time. We'll send it back to Jason to close out another great season of BCU. Take it away, Jason. This has been another edition of BCU at the X. We'll be back in no time. We'll send it back to Jason to close out another great season of BCU. Take it away, Jason.
Before we head out, we're going to take a trip down memory lane. Before we get into that, we'll take our second and final break of the show. We'll be right back.
Here at Tower Yearbook, we are a dedicated staff of photographers, designers, copywriters, and practicum students.
Our staff is a student-led, student-run media outlet, producing a book with over 300 pages. Be sure to pop out at any of our portrait or distribution events.
So stay tuned to our social media to see what's up.
Stay on top of current events and the biggest stories of the week with Northwest News.
Welcome back to Northwest News. I'm Skylar Stamps.
And I'm Wiley Ray.
Get all the latest news coverage and updates about Northwest, the Maryville community, and ways you can stay involved on and off campus. Northwest News every Sunday, live at 11 on KNWT TV.
Welcome back to Bearcat Update. We're going to shift gears for Bearcats in the past. Before we close things out here, our producer, Killian Beck, is going to give a rundown on all of the highlights for the last 2 years. As well as that, Jaden Varner sat down with Killian to gain his thoughts on his time with BCU.
With this being the highlight episode for BCU, I figured I'd try something a little different. Earlier in the year, I got a chance to interview Killian Beck and ask him about how he felt going into his final season of Bearcat Update and his thoughts on his last show.
When I think about the last episode of Bearcat Update, I really don't know how I'm going to feel. There's a great sadness, but there's such a, you always hear the thing, don't cry because it's over, cry because it happened. And I think I might be doing a little bit of both. This has been something that I've had the great pleasure of pouring everything I have into it and meeting some fantastic people. I get the great privilege of saying all or most of my best friends that I've met here at school, I actually get to directly work with. And when I think back to the end of my career here as a producer, I just hope that I hope that the next group kind of sees that and maybe I've inspired them just a little bit.
With this being the final episode of Killian's BCU career, he has one final message to his current and former crew members.
If I could say anything to all my crew members that I've worked with in the past as well as right now, I would say from the bottom of my heart, just thank you. I've really appreciated working with each and every one of you. It's been a special 2 years. I'm really thankful that I got this opportunity to be a producer of this, and we've had a really good run. I guess I would say to all of you guys, thank you. This has been something really special in my life, and I'll cherish it forever. I'm thankful for the opportunity to have been in this position, and I really hope that each and every one of you finds the success in the next chapter of your life. If it's coming back to this show, I hope that we continue on the same legacy and keep working hard. And if it's out in the real world with me, I hope that our paths cross. I hope that we get to work together and maybe rekindle some Bearcat Update magic.
From everyone on the crew, we wish you nothing but the best, Killian. Oh, and don't worry, BCU is in good hands.
But that's all the time we have for this season. I'm your host, Jason Holland, and this has been Bearcat Update, the provider of complete coverage of Northwest sports. Thank you all for watching. This has been yet another special season, and we'll be back in no time.